All right, I almost had all the buttons pressed this time. It was like too short. Anyways, we'll go back to the best of 5 finals, guys. And it's $100 up for grabs. Of course, all brought to you together by Combination Base Trade TV, but also more so Love Your Girlfriend. I know I'm the one casting. I'm kind of the face of everything going on right now, but without them, we wouldn't have this awesome event. So again, thank you to Love Your Girlfriend, an awesome team. But of course, this is the 8-man Love Your Girlfriend Invitational Challenge, and it's come down to 2 not Love Your Girlfriend players, but 2 North Americaners. Even more surprisingly, no Koreans making it towards the end here. We'll see who can lock this down and take it home. Tied up now 1-1, spawning in the northern location on Polar Night. It's going to be the red Protoss player Puck. And his opponent in the south, playing for Core Gaming, the young North American player known as Jon Snow. I hope he's feeling frosty because he spawned near the Lich King. I don't know why I'm talking like that. My apologies. But anyways, that last game was not exactly a bad game out of Jon Snow. More so like a great game out of Puck. Like, Jon Snow had the right reactions. He had roaches on the way. He went for Hydralisk. Hell, he got those Vipers out lickety-split. He split his army from multiple angles, but still in the end, Puck was able to take it home. And a lot of that comes from like just being able to bully a Zerg player down off of their third base. I mean, we all know how ingrained like that natural base is as far as the Zerg player goes. Like I don't know any Zerg plays that are one base. Alright guys, there's like one. It's like a Baneling Zergling all in, right? But like, I mean really, there's almost no one base plays you can make as a Zerg player. Now, because of this, you assume like, okay, everyone's gonna have a natural. And he did have a natural. But more importantly than this is the third base. And we saw the biggest effect it had was not so much the economy, which was absolutely in the gutter for Jon Snow, but more importantly than that, the lack of larva. It's been a long time since I've seen a player not be able to remax, and that was one of the rare occasions. We'll see if Jon Snow falls in the same trap. It's a large reason why you see people make macro hatcheries in their main or the natural base, because of that same problem with larva. But yeah, again, a lot of the game comes down to Puck, not so much the mistakes that Jon Snow had made. So we'll see if Jon Snow can get away on Polar Night with a little bit more. This is a map that's definitely a little bit more fun for Zerg players to play on. It doesn't matter which third base you take. It's kind of like Heavy Rain in the sense that these bases will be exposed for the Zerg or the Protoss. But the difference is with Watchtowers, you've got a little more control of the map. With Overlord Spread, you're going to have all of that lovely vision, and it's not going to be nearly as difficult for Jon Snow to see an attack coming from Puck. Again, a big part of why that game works so well was like that hidden pylon on the high ground warping into the low ground, catching Jon Snow completely off guard. Sorry, I'm reading chat. If you guys are getting like 10-minute ads, by the way, full permission to skip them. You can't even select 10 minutes worth of ads to run. Like, that's not even an option on Twitch. So if you've got a skip option or something, I say go for it. That is ridiculous. You should not be getting those. We'll go down here, run past the Mothership Core. These legs are going to get here at a timing though where Puck actually is not quite prepared for this. He doesn't have a cannon down. There's no full wall off. He didn't quite get that third gateway because he doesn't have the Sim City for it. So this flood of legs getting the pylon is going to be really annoying for Puck to deal with. But for Jon Snow, this is the type of aggression he really needs to pay Puck back. Now, I was kind of joking around talking about like 1-base, 2-base plays for like Zergling all-ins, but that's kind of what's happening here with the Metal Bog boost kicking in a moment's time. Puck will have the overcharge, but if he uses the overcharge here in the main, then the natural base is going to be under a lot of stress too. And the Mothership Core, let's not forget, the Mothership Core is going to get a lot of kills in this. Like, the damage on a Mothership Core should never be underestimated because it's actually quite significant, but he's staving off on the overcharge for now because he knows he can hold this small amount with Stalkers and the Mothership Core for now. But running towards the natural, Metabolic Boost is finished. Lings are running across the map. I don't like that Jon Snow is flooding him with like such few units though. He's going to try and get one of those Stalkers, but I think he'll get neither. Yeah, probes are pulled onto this, and Jon Snow is really just taking, I don't know, the worst way to handle a Zergling all-in. Like, there's the overcharge. Should completely duck out to the natural now. Oh, again, doesn't get the Stalker. 4 health remaining. Jon Snow's throwing a lot of Lings way into this, and he's got no plan for a follow-up. Like, this is as all-in as it gets. He's continuing to flood Lings out. He wants to get these Stalkers if he can be afforded the opportunity, but Puck has set up some really nice Sim City at the top of the ramp. Knocking down the natural base is the only thing Jon Snow can really do right now. He knows he sacrificed a lot for this, and he knows he has to kill a lot of probes to make this work, but unfortunately for him, I don't think that's going to be possible. Puck with that Sim City combined with his defensive tactics, he'll be stuck on one base as a Protoss player. But Jon Snow's got no drones behind this. He's now starting to drone up. He says, all right, you know what? Getting the Nexus was an acceptable loss for this amount of links. He's going to get these gateways too, which will be really nice on top of this, but he's not going to touch another probe. Not for a long time. Puck has got him safely and sound inside his main. A force field, if necessary, can come down. And of course, Stalker's in hold position are going to be really nice. Oh no, Jon Snow, don't do this! He gets trapped by the force field! This was the worst thing he could have done. If he got away with the lings, then he's got map presence. Then he comes back in for another attack later. Then he keeps Puck from putting his natural base down. But Jon Snow just dedicated all of these lings, so many of them. Oh god, he did not need to lose those. That was really greedy moving up the ramp like that. And I believe he had the Overlord in position to see that too. Like, Jon Snow, you greedy bastard. That was just not going to be worth it in the end. Going to try and get the natural down once again, and this is what I'm talking about. This is why you keep the lings alive. Pick off that probe. If he had more lings, he'd actually have the DPS to kill the Nexus. He actually barely has the DPS to kill with what he has, but Puck's going to reestablish. Still, though, buying himself a lot of time, denying the natural for as long as he has, it's allowed him to catch up in drones. He doesn't have any form of an army count, and quite frankly, if Puck just like 4-gated and went across the map, maybe he straight up wins. But right now, like I said, Puck is the player who, in my mind, I always picture the macro game, Colossus, Immortals, late game tech. And that's certainly where he looks to be heading with this natural base being his priority rather than all-inning for a quick victory. Which, again, I really think he could pull off. Because Jon Snow just threw away the last few of his lings. He's got a single spine crawler at home. He's got 5 army supply, but that's mostly queens. Oh god, he doesn't even have a rich one, does he? Okay, well, a couple more spine crawlers and lings being remade. I think at this point, Jon Snow is just hoping he spooked Puck, which it appears he's done. Like, just kind of scare Puck into this defensive play. So, as weird as it is, it's gonna work out for him here in the end as far as like throwing his units away. But again, I really think there's a couple things Jon Snow could have done to really extend a lead instead of even out the game. But hey, you know what? He's the player and he knows, trust me, he knows this game better than I do, so not gonna be too overly critical. But coming across the map with more lings once again. There's no cannons up. Is he gonna see his probe going out? He should chase us down. There you go, lings gonna react now. But okay, so far, 68 lings have died for 3 probes. Of course, a couple Nexus have gone down and been canceled, so not entirely like it's been a huge waste, but still, it's just, look at the context, guys. I mean, that's what the ling hauling accomplished. It's, I don't know, I just don't see it as being that effective. Could have been better, but again, I don't want to overly harp on that. Taking his third base right now, Jon Snow's definitely looking to start moving forward. Again, this was something that was originally intended to be an all-in that's win or lose. Like, I either absolutely destroy my opponent and I win the game, or I lose so much and there's no chance. I don't think he was expecting this weird sort of, like, I don't know, evening out of the game, I guess you could call it. There's probably a fancier way to say that, but yeah, the small amount of sentries and the Stalkers combined with the Immortal, as long as they take a position near a choke, they can take on these lings no problem. Out in the open like this, you can still take a fight, but the Stalker still doesn't go down! This is the same Stalker from earlier with 12 kills on it, and it comes with no shield, and it still maintains its 4 health. This guy should be an Immortal. No, but really, like, what the hell? Luckiest Stalker NA. Coming across the map, Puck though looking to take a fight around the third. He's got to know Jon Snow's got this. He's got the Warp Prism because he knows Pylon's going to be taken care of. That is kind of a big sign of respect too. Like, Jon Snow's been so good at taking Pylons down that Puck's not able to even maintain them, so just makes the Warp Prism without any hesitation. Lots of Hydralisks in this. I don't know if this will be enough to take the army, so he's just going to sacrifice the base. A bit tentative coming in. I mean, he backed off, and that really gave up a lot of space he had to take this fight. He's going to pick off some Zealots for free, though. That'll be really nice. There's no recall option, but off of Creep, no Adrenal Glands. Sorry, not Adrenal Glands. Muscular Augments. Means that there's no way to actually move fast enough to stay with this. It looks like he did opt to go for a small link counterattack while that was going on, too, but the cannon holds strong. Base in the back was taken. Again, I mentioned this earlier today on Polar Knight. This is a base that has been kind of ignored for the majority of Polar Knight's life, but in recent days, we've seen more and more players taking it. I'm not sure what the sudden, like, hey, I forgot that this was here, or what the mentality choice is behind it, but Puck is going to be taking this back right base. It should be a little bit easier to secure since Johnston's actually not invested in air units. This base is impossibly frustrating to deal with if your opponent has like a ton of Mutalisks out and constantly harassing, or hell, even minor amounts of Swarm Hosts, because maneuvering from your natural to back here, from either the front or the back, is a real pain in the ass, and sometimes impossible. But Jon Snow looking to take an attack. He sent a small attack force of Lings up here to the top right. Oh, sorry, not even Lings, Hydralisks to try and take down this base. Unfortunately, pushing into the natural is not going to happen anytime soon. And yeah, Hydralisk DPS is pretty nice. It's not a lot more to be said on top of that. Overcharge is going to go off to drive these back. Meanwhile, looks like we had a bit of a warp in towards the main. I can't believe I missed that. Huge amount of damage being done to that natural, or sorry, to the layer. But Zealots are going to be cleaned up here in the end by these Lings. So Jon Snow holds, but not on 3 bases. And again, I kind of talked about this before. Economy first and foremost, of course. But with a big bank, Jon Snow can't afford to make a ton of units because he doesn't have the larva for it. And when I say afford, I'm not talking minerals or gas. I'm talking literally the larva it takes to create the units in the first place. The longer this goes on, the scarier it gets for Jon Snow, of course. Now we've got Archons in the battle. While there might not be Colossus out just yet, these are going to do a great job of dealing with Lings. Granted, if Lings can get a full surround on an Archon, Lings will win, but that's not going to happen in this game anytime soon. They're going to have the Zealots to chew through. They're going to have the Archons behind them. 3 of them as well. Sorry. It's, when you run out of water, your throat starts getting a bit sore. And we'll have to absolutely refuel after this. Just coming across the map in full force. Even with a Spine Car being down, it's going to be at the wrong spot. Puck's not pushing towards the 3rd. He's pushing towards the natural. I don't know if this is because he assumes Jon Snow never remade a 3rd. If he just says, alright, you'll probably be protecting your 3rd, so I'll go for the natural instead. Either way, positionally takes a pretty good start to this. Jon Snow going to come in, though. Some Hydralisks. Unfortunately, lots of force fields are going to go down and make this very difficult to deal with. Not able to focus on top of either the Archons or the Colossus. All the Hydralisks are just getting massacred right now.
Monster kill!
Puck takes game number 3, ladies and gentlemen.